Hello everyone and welcome to the weird, scary and horrible parts of humanity. Today we are looking at something rather unique, a LOT Polish Airlines hijacking by two individuals in a desperate bid to escape East Germany. LOT is the flag carrier of Poland and remains the 13th oldest airline still operating, having been founded way back in 1928. It currently has 79 aircraft and flies to 120 destinations across 3 continents as the 18th largest airline in Europe. However, during the Polish People's Republic during the Cold War, it was mostly relegated to Soviet-built aircraft and was mostly relegated to the Eastern Bloc as well as parts of Western Europe. However, it also started regular flights to New York in the United States of America in 1973, Bangkok in Thailand via Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and Mumbai in India by 1977. On the 30th of August 1978, a Tupolev Tu-134 operated by LOT, registration number SLGC, took off from Gdansk Airport bound for Schönefeld Airport in what was East Berlin as Flight LO165. The registration number was SPLGC. The Tupolev Tu-134 was a twin-engined, narrow-body jet airliner built in the Soviet Union between 1966 and 1989, aimed at short to medium-haul routes. Ironically, one of LOT's most deadliest accidents was LO165 when an Antonov AN-24W from Warsaw, the capital of Poland, to Krakow in Poland crashed near Zawodzia in Poland, killing 53 people aboard on the 2nd of April 1969. However, for some reason, LOT elected to keep the flight number. Aboard LO165 were 50 passengers of East Germany, 10 Polish citizens, a man from Munich in West Germany, and a woman from West Berlin. There were 7 crew aboard, all Polish citizens. However, there were 3 East German citizens of note aboard the Tupolev Tu-134, Hans Detlef Alexander Tiede, who went by Detlef, and his friend Ingrid Ruske, as well as her 12-year-old daughter Sabine. Ingrid was a waitress at Café Mosca in East Berlin. While both had previously had an affair, they remained friends. The trio had travelled to Poland to meet Ingrid's West German boyfriend Horst Fischer of Hamburg, who she met at Café Mosca when he was travelling in East Berlin. Fischer worked as a construction manager on behalf of a Hamburg company during the construction of the Eberswalder Wurst GmbH and EFG Eberswalder Fleisch GmbH, a meat and sausage manufacturer in Blitz. Fischer had planned to bring forged West German papers into Gdansk, Poland, to allow Tiede, Ingrid, as well as Sabine to escape into West Germany, with the plan of using a ferry to travel to the West German city of Travemünde in the borough of Lübeck. Ingrid had put in a petition to live with Fischer in West Germany, arguing that he had money, a West German passport, and an apartment big enough for 2 people, but this was denied by the government of the GDR. Tiede travelled to Gdansk by train and Ingrid and Sabine went by plane. Tiede had been desperate to leave East Germany and had put in 20 applications to leave East Germany, all denied by the government of the GDR. Even though escaping to West Germany was illegal and could result in imprisonment, they weren't the only ones trying. Prior to the construction of the Berlin Wall on the 13th of August 1961, 300,000 people had escaped every year from the GDR to West Germany. However, this dropped to only several hundred a year once the Berlin Wall had been built, until the late 1980s, when it increased to 30,000 people between 1984 and 1988. This desertion was known as Republikflucht, desertion from the Republic, describing illegal emigration for West Germany, West Berlin, and non-Warsaw Pact countries. The official term was Ungestliche Grenzenübertritt, unlawful border crossing. Several hundred people attempting to escape died in accidents or were shot by the GDR border troops, and 75,000 individuals were caught and imprisoned. However, after 4 days Fischer had not shown up, even though he was meant to get the ferry with him from Gdansk, and Ingrid and Tiede began to get worried and believed that he had been arrested for Republikflucht. This did indeed turn out to be correct, and Fischer was sentenced to 8 years in jail in East Germany after a friend had told the Stasi, the secret police of East Germany, of Ingrid's plan, and they launched Operation Ferry to prevent the group leaving with fake Polish customs stamps having been found in the heels of Fischer's shoes. Both Ingrid and Tiede knew that if they remained in Poland or returned to East Germany as a result of Fischer being arrested, they themselves would be arrested by the Stasi and ultimately imprisoned. So they hitched a plan to hijack an aircraft headed for East Berlin's Schönefeld Airport and force a landing at the US Air Force Base at Tempelhof Airport in West Berlin. Aircraft of the Soviet Union had armed pilots as well as an air marshal aboard, which had come to pass following the successful hijacking of LOT Flight 244 on the 15th of October 1970, when an Antonov AN-24B was hijacked by father and son duo Pranas Brazanskas and Algirdas Brazanskas, with flight attendant Nadezhda Kurchenko shot to death and the plane landing in Trabzon, Turkey, with the father and son duo granted asylum in Turkey before settling in the United States of America. This successful hijacking represented a massive embarrassment to the Soviet Union. However, aboard LOT aircraft there was no air marshal and pilots were not armed, and in essence this made hijacking a LOT aircraft far easier. Even the cockpit doors were left open. The trio bought an 80-year-old Mondial starter pistol at a flea market. Ingrid and Sabine already had a return ticket to East Berlin aboard LOT, and Tiede decided to join them. On the 29th of August 1978, Ingrid went to a church in Gdansk and prayed to God for support. On the 30th of August 1978, they boarded LOT Flight 165, bound for Berlin Schönefeld Airport. Ingrid, Sabine and Tiede were sat in row socks. The gun was hidden in Sabine's pocket, and security at Gdansk Airport thought that it was merely a toy. As the Tupolev flew across the Oder River entering East German airspace at 9:30 am, Tiede stood up and went towards the cockpit. Taking a female flight attendant hostage by the hair and pressing the pistol against her head, he shouted loudly in English, German and Polish, demanding that the pilot land at Tempelhof Airport in West Berlin, threatening to shoot the flight attendant if they landed at Schönefeld. The captain could see Tiede through the cockpit door and shouted into his radio that a terrorist was on board and that he was unwilling to jeopardize the life of a flight attendant. Ingrid would state in an interview that during this time, the craziest things went through my head. Can't describe it. The tension was unbearable. At 10:04 am, LOT Flight 106 landed at Tempelhof Airport in West Berlin, at the time the US Air Base. When they landed, Tiede tossed the pistol out of the aircraft door and American soldiers greeted him with the words, "Welcome to free West Berlin." He shouted into the cabin that anyone who wanted to leave could, as he, Ingrid and Sabine left the Tupolev. By this stage, firefighters and ambulances surrounded the aircraft. The trio were taken in a bus to the officer's clerk and arrested. Sabine and Ingrid would spend 2 months in prison. In total, 7 other passengers opted to stay in West Germany of their free will. These were a couple with 2 children, with the husband ironically claiming that he would swim across the Danube River to escape, a couple from Leipzig, and a radiology assistant from Erfurt, who returned to East Germany the next day by train. The remaining passengers and crew were interviewed and taken by bus to East Berlin. Upon their return, they were interrogated at the Investigations Division at the Ministry for State Security by the Stasi, who questioned passengers for 6 hours and 15 minutes. But why didn't more passengers and crew defect? Well, Der Spiegel International interviewed some passengers in 2010, asking why they elected not to defect. Nobody knew that the Berlin Wall would fall in 1989 and that Germany would be unified. Well, for many passengers it meant leaving everything they knew: grandparents, parents, family, children, and their work. They had to make their minds up in just one afternoon, and no one had gotten aboard that flight and planned to defect from East Germany. However, Tiede and Ingrid presented something of an obstacle to the West German federal government, and they were reluctant to prosecute them due to the fact that they supported the rights of East Germans fleeing oppression in the GDR. However, the United States of America had spent years persuading the government of the GDR to sign the Hague Convention under the Convention for the Suppression of Unlawful Seizure of Aircraft, which came into effect on the 14th of October 1971. The People's Republic of Poland requested the extradition of the hijackers, but this was rejected by the United States of America. So this resulted in something that would only happen once in the history of West Germany, the convening of the United States Court for Berlin in the case of US versus Tiede. This was without precedence. Due to the unwillingness of West Germany to prosecute Tiede and Ruske, they allowed the United States of America to take over the criminal proceedings. The trial was presided over by Judge of the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey, Herbert J. Stern, with the trial happening in a makeshift courtroom in Tempelhof Airport. It was found that the defendants would be tried by jury, which was abolished in Germany in 1924 under the Eminger reform, replacing juries with judges and lay judges, which still exists to this day in Germany. The trial against Ingrid was dismissed because she had not been notified of her legal rights before signing a confession, hence she only spent 2 months in jail. Tiede was acquitted on the charges of hijacking and possession of a firearm, but was convicted of taking a hostage, the flight attendant, as the jury did not find him guilty of acts against the safety of civil aviation, deprivation of liberty and battery, but found him guilty of hostage-taking. The minimum sentence for this was 3 years. Stern sentenced Tiede to time served during pre-trial detention, which was just 9 months. But why such a light sentence for hijacking an aircraft? Well, it was the Cold War in a trial led by the United States government, and Stern accounted for Tiede's emergency situation and the plight that he was facing if imprisoned in East Germany under Republikflucht. In 1980, Fischer was released after the West German federal government paid a ransom to East Germany, with Ingrid and Fischer marrying after his release in West Germany in 1985. Until 1987, a further 16 LOT planes were hijacked and flown to West Berlin, most ending up in Tempelhof, giving rise to the expression amongst West Berliners, "Landet oft in Tempelhof," meaning lands often in Tempelhof, and designed to stand for LOT, which did not fly to West Berlin under normal circumstances. In 1984, Stern wrote the book Judgment in Berlin, based on the 1979 trial. This became the 1988 movie Judgment in Berlin, starring Martin Sheen as Stern. However, the movie was a commercial and critical flop, with a 20% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and made only $229,556 in the box office, being released only in the United States of America and West Germany. However, for the hijackers, life in West Germany was not all that rosy. Ingrid and Fischer would divorce in 1991, and Fischer would die in 2006. In 2010, Ingrid told Der Spiegel, "I had no expectations of the West, and it didn't even live up to those." She trained to be a practitioner of alternative medicine and went on to become a practitioner of alternative medicine and provide acupuncture, massage, hypnosis in her apartment. Tiede refused to talk about the hijacking unless he was paid. In essence, he lived vicariously through the hijacking. In 2004, the novel Tupilov 134 was written by Antje Ravik, which was staged as a radio play by Südwestrundfunk, broadcast on the 29th of April 2007. On the 27th of August 2008, the radio play by Marianne Wend and Christian Scheiler, The Story of a Decent Citizen, was broadcast on Deutschlandradio Kultur. On the 26th of September 2010, RTL would broadcast the movie Westflug Entflung aus Liebe, based on the hijacking of LOT 165. This starred Hendrik Doyeren, Sophie von Kessel and Oliver Mompson. This was followed by the 60-minute documentary Escape to Freedom, which looked at the true stories of LOT 165. Up until 2020, LOT continued to use the flight number 165 aboard the flight from Skrynik, Poland to Tel Aviv in Israel. Thank you for watching. Please do yourself a favour and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of when new videos come out. Also, why not hit that like button and leave a nice comment? It helps more than you know, and your support is truly appreciated. Until next time, stay awesome, stay classy, be kind to everyone you meet, have an amazing day, and remember the truth is always more interesting than fiction.